Doc, welcome to the Granite Zero podcast. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for the invite.
No, it's always a privilege and a pleasure to get a fellow rock on the show.
Well, yeah. Oddly enough, our paths have crossed before.
Have they?
Yeah, because you were out, you took over us on Herrick 17, didn't you? The 15 squadron.
Yes, I did.
Because Stu Robinson and his crew come out as BCRs for my depleted call sign.
Ah, got you.
And then
Got you.
And you're more than aware what happened to Robbo.
Yes, yeah. Well, unfortunately, I got to listen to it.
Yeah.
Being the squadron signaller on the day, it was.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, buddy, because I spoke to the signallers after what happened at Bastion, and they're like that. To know how you coped. The net was just mental, because how can you stay so calm and focused?
Yeah, it was very tricky, and I've mentioned it a few times. Like, for me personally, it was difficult, but I also had to deal with every single major incident that 15 Squadron had. So
Yeah,
so whether it was the rocket attacks, contact, IEDs, small arms, all that, it just happened to be every time I was in the hot seat. Like, it was fucking just unreal. It was like, what am I going to get today? And then
but you
like,
know
how
what?
many?
The guys in my flight. Every time we used to go out as a complete patrol, they used to run a book on how quick will the Sarge's multiple get contacted, because it was like a running theme.
Yeah.
And it was relentless. Herrick 16 for us. It was the height of the fighting season, the height of what was going on in Afghanistan at the time. It was mental, mate. I've never
Yeah.
seen anything so kinetic, and I've been to some pretty contested areas.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that in a sec, but just to answer your question, and as cheesy as this sounds, I was quite lucky in the fact of the training that we had in the build up to that Herrick. We did extensive work in different sort of avenues of what it's like to work in the siege jockey. It was the first time I ever did it. I was a flight signaller before that and all that sort of stuff. That's different. Like, but I have to hats off to Sergeant Brown, Sergeant Sam Brown. Yeah, he prepped us really well. In fact, I told him to fuck off many a time in the practice runs.
He certainly would not hear you, because his ears are massive.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but
Sam, if
yeah,
you're ever going to listen to this.
yeah, but genuinely, it was down to the training, and as you train hard to fight easy. So
This is it, mate. And we're exactly the same on our build up to going out on the Herrick 16. Exactly the same. You train that way for a specific reason. So when the shit does hit the fan, you're
yeah,
in
exactly.
autopilot mode, so to speak.
But it's crazy, isn't it? Because the RAF Reg don't live the wire, and
Mate,
well,
if only people really knew what we actually did. You know what I
I
mean?
know
Come on.
it's madness, isn't it? I take it with a pinch of salt these days, and I literally, well, when I was still in, I was reg. I'd flash if people started giving us shit. It'd be like, you don't know what we do. But now I'm just like, oh, cool. Any new banter, or are you just going to stick with the same? Oh, okay, nothing new. All right, cool. We'll just crack on, shall we?
You've only got to look at what some of the others do. They aren't doing an awful lot either. So it swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, exactly.
And
What?
it's all light-hearted banter at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that is exactly it. I wouldn't have it any other way now. A bit of banter, it doesn't hurt anyone. What
But it
made
goes
you
a long way.
What made you go down the avenue of the RAF Reg?
So I was looking for something to do with my civvy job, out with my civvy job at the time, and I went along to, oddly enough, to an army TA centre in Inverness at the time, and so I went along to one of their training evenings, and I couldn't believe how disorganised it was, how dysfunctional it was. I was like, no, I don't think this is for me. Then I saw an advert for the RAF Regiment Reserve Squadron at Lossy, which is 2622. So I went along to their open day. I thought, what, this kind of fits me a bit better. So I did that. I joined them, I did it 4 years part time, and I got such a. I enjoyed it that much, because I went various places around the world with them. I thought, you know what, I quite fancy doing this on a full time basis. So I went along to the army, well, the armed forces careers office as it is now. Said, I want to join the RAF Reg. At that, sure, do you want to be a fireman? No. Sure, you want to be an RAF police? No, I'm already an RAF Regiment part time gunner, so I want to go full time. Is that all right? I can't persuade you. So yeah, and then I joined up full time a couple of months later after my pre screening. I didn't have to go do the attendance or the pre-course because I was already serving.
Yeah.
So I got onto my first day at RAF Halton when we got met off the coach by the training team for our first couple of days before we moved to Hollington, and it's like, oh shit, I'm the oldest on the course. I'm 28. Oh, is this really the right thing I should be doing at my age? But I kind of really enjoyed basics.
Yeah. It's I did. It was after the initial sort of 4 weeks. I was shit on the first 4 weeks. I was like, nah, I want to come home. I'm done. I can't be doing this. People are shouting at me for no reason. Like it's stupid because I knew what I was signing up for, but when it actually happened, I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I always had a bit of a chip on my shoulder, anyways. But I was like, fuck this. And then it was
none of that bothered me because I was already used to it.
yeah.
I didn't mind people shouting at me. I got on really well with the training team, and I'm still good friends with all the training team who took me through basic training. And that kind of set me up when I went back as a recruit training instructor in 2007. So I've seen it from both sides, and I thought, I know what the scrope baggers are going to go through, but I know what it's like for the instructors because they work incredibly hard
Yeah.
to try and produce. Because every training team had its own standards.
Yeah.
And at the time we were at the surge point where they were running 6 training teams. And we were pretty new. We were the Hibernia training team. We were pretty new formed. We from our outset we had our standards. We wouldn't drop them. If they didn't meet the grade, they didn't meet the grade, and they got canned.
Yeah. Well, that's how it should be. Even now, that's how it should be. I don't know what it's like these days.
Because when they eventually get to the whatever unit they get assigned to, they're like, "What trained? Who trained you?" And that's the first thing they're going to ask.
Yeah.
Who's your training team?
I had a pretty decent training team when I came through. I went through El Alamein, and I would say the lead sort of corporal was Rob Bonner, and that cut that bloke open, and he fucking bleeds RAF Reg, and
he's done all right for himself, Rob.
Yeah. He's got a lovely green beret now. So
he has, Mong man. He's a beast. He's a beast, though.
Yeah, he's an absolute unit, and the standards that he sort of set was like, oh, if I've got to meet that sort of standard, that's what I've got to. Which is why I think the lads that passed out with me and went on to 15 Squadron White, we were pretty good at what we were doing, because we basically had almost the entire sort of training flight basically went straight on to 15. I think it was Rapier before that, along with I think 26 or 16? I can't remember. But they sort of combined, didn't they, and created the mighty 15 again.
The mighty 15.
Yeah. I don't know what it's like now. But it was pretty decent when I was there.
Well, you know what, mate? I left as a regular in August 2022. So I'm back to being a part-time flight sergeant now. Back on the reserve squadron where I started. I did 24 years as a regular. I've probably seen a lot more than I ever wanted to, experienced a lot more than I ever wanted to, which we'll probably get to in an hour or so. But it's only so much you can keep giving, and joining up a lot later in life, takes its toll out on your body. So I decided to leave at 52. I thought, you know what, I think I've done my bit. I'll do it part time. So I work on a local authority now as a project manager. So
got you. Yeah.
I can't shout people in the local authority though.
I was assuming that you were fully out now, but obviously you're still.
No, I'm still part time. Hoping to pick up my take on the reserve squadron this year.
Oh, nice. Well, fingers crossed for you. But yeah, I was literally that was going to be one of my questions, because obviously I struggled and I only did 5.5 years, and I was going to ask what was it like transitioning out after a long period of time, but obviously you're still
Yeah, well,
Partly
mate,
one foot in.
it's still, yeah, it's still a hard transition to make, though, because all my friends are in the military, and I don't have a lot
Mm.
of friends that are civvies, really, apart from the ones that have got out and become civvies, obviously. Yeah, so yeah, it's a different world. You know, I
Yeah,
can't shout at people in my current job.
yeah. Oh wow.
It's frustrating at times because you know you just want to go and strangle them, but yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You have to
No,
be
I think
very
that's
reserved.
frowned upon. Frowned upon,
Yeah,
that is.
and all the people that work for me are all female. So
Yeah,
it
you
adds
definitely can.
another dimension to it. I've got to be very PC.
Mm.
You know, I've got there. I've got there.
Yeah, yeah, get in there.
I've got there. I enjoy
Yeah,
it.
it's definitely definitely it's eye opening. It took me, well, how long did it take me? It took me almost 8 years to fully settle. I was bouncing around. I was like, I can't deal with these dickheads. I can't deal with these dickheads. Nobody understands. Nobody gets it. And one of the big things that I found was, because I transitioned, I didn't get much in terms of I can't think of the fucking word now. Resettlement. It was basically, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I don't really know. And they were like, oh, have you tried security, basically? And I was like, oh, what's that? Had a look, did a CP course, haven't used a badge in that way, but it looks good on your CV. But it was like, there you go, out you go. I was like, oh all right, cool. Um, and when I came out, and it's the security world is so much different in a way. Obviously, we're infantry, so you know you fight fire with fire. You know, you're always moving forward. You don't want to take a step back. You've
Yeah,
got,
yeah.
if someone's escalating, you escalate further instead of trying to de-escalate. And you know, that was the hardest sort of transition, and that doesn't really get taught much. Like, it's for myself, being a yeah, being a gunner. It's like, well, I'm aggressive. I want to win the firefight, all that sort of things. And it's like, I didn't get de-soldiered, you could say, or de-gunnered. It was just like, there you go, have fun.
You never do. You never do.
No, stop calling people dickheads, but they are.
Yeah, it's a different. It's a different world when you step out from the military life, because it's a totally different life. Totally different. You can't explain it. You know, the
Yeah,
camaraderie, the banter, the piss taking that goes along with an absolutely real job you do at times. You know, you put your life on the line to
yeah,
defend the realm and British interests and other interests which aren't so British.
yeah. True. It's a strange concept when you think about it. Um, I had to go through therapy at one stage to try and fix the old noggin. Um, and I was explaining what basically we had to do on going out on foot patrols and things like that. And then she just couldn't fathom the fact that I was okay with the fact that I was going out and possibly not coming back. She was like, how old were you when you did this?" And I was like, "Well, 21 when I first went to Iraq." I was like, "It's just, it is what it is." And she was like, "But that's not normal." It's like, well, it is to me, because that's what I was programmed to do. But she couldn't get her head around that. She was trying to say
No,
that's
it's hard. I've given quite a lot of these after dinner speeches type stuff.
mm,
Sometimes I don't like doing, because you get asked a lot of questions, and I've done a lot of ad hoc stuff and
yeah,
attended a lot of really crazy events where there's other high-end gallantry award recipients at it, and there's high-ranking
mm.
officers that don't really do an awful lot, but they seem to have an awful lot of medals. And they ask you, so how did you deal with the aftermath of that? That's such an extreme event you went through. This, well, by talking to someone. I
Yeah,
don't. It's not affecting me in any way, because it's not like I kind of do relive it. You'll probably see that as we go forward. I will probably get a little bit emotional at times because you
yeah, that's
start
fine.
to
Yeah, of course.
relive it. I mean, and oddly enough, helping to put it down papers helps, because
Mm.
it's going into book form
Oh,
at some point, which will be called Into the Darkness.
like it.
Uh, so yeah, I'm on the last chapter, I think.
Oh, nice, nice.
It's been an
How
ongoing
you? I was gonna
process.
say, how you finding the creative process?
I actually the creativity of writing it is I actually quite enjoyed it. I found it really therapeutic. And what I did find a bit odd, I have to admit, is I keep remembering stuff and I think, oh, fuck, I've got to put that in because that was really
Yeah,
funny at the time. And then trying to
yeah,
put that in a speak that someone can actually read and go,
mm,
I know what
yeah,
I know what he's thinking there, or why that was so funny, which is quite hard to do on paper
mm,
because it's so black and white. But yeah, I had a little bit of help. I had a ghostwriter that helped me do the prologue, and that kind of set me on the path.
yeah. That's good. That's good. Well,
But yeah,
I
it's
went.
pretty graphic.
Well, I'll be looking forward to that. I'll be adding that to the collection. Um, most definitely. I wrote a book, and mine was very much mixed reviews. Like, in terms of lads that I served with were like, that didn't happen. I was like, well, it fucking did. I know it did. Like, I was the fucking one that did it. But yeah, it was. I got a lot of shit for when I wrote mine, and at one point I was like, well, I'm just going to remove it from Amazon and things like that because the amount of
Yeah,
hate and shit like that, I was like, I can't be dealing with it. That's not why I wrote it.
I have tested it on a few people, a few friends, and a few people were I don't know that well. I said, look, have a read of this part of a
Yeah,
chapter and see what you think. They're like, okay, holy shit, I want to
yeah,
read all of it now.
yeah.
But that's been pretty well written.
The,
Like, well,
yeah,
not that I'm a book writer.
yeah, the positive reviews I got was really good, and a lot of them were like, oh, I understand where the book was going because it wasn't so much about my service. It was more about how I dealt with the mental health aspect afterwards and how I was really down, really dark, and how my daughters basically saved my fucking life and things like that. And
Well, mate, things
you,
affect
you,
people in totally different
yeah,
ways.
I went through it and I was like, I'm fucking really proud of that. I'm heavily dyslexic, so actually getting something down on paper, like I used to jot down when we were out on tour. I used to write little journals, which is why I got most of the memories still written down in handwritten form. Not that my handwriting's any good, but it took me a while to actually fucking decipher what I just wrote. It was like it was in Batco. I was like, what the fucking hell was that? Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, it was therapeutic, definitely, and that's why I found doing the podcast was even more so because I struggled a bit more. I got a bit more stressed writing stuff, so I thought, why don't I speak it instead?
yeah.
And
I've looked at a couple of your podcasts since you asked me to come on and do it, and
I
I was like,
appreciate it.
well, some of these people, amazing.
Yeah, to be fair, some of the people I've even shocked myself with some of the people that I've got. The one of the main ones that I really enjoyed doing was actually 2 or 3 years ago. Now we're coming up to the fifth birthday of the podcast actually, but it was Rusty Furman, um, SAS, and I literally just sent him a message on Facebook. I think it was. I just said, "It's coming up to my podcast's birthday. Do you fancy being my special guest?" And he's like, "Yeah, no problem." And like Soldier World, that's like, oh fucking hell, that's like a proper celebrity.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, so having him on, and he was sound. And weirdly, he actually used to play football with my dad. When my dad was based down in Hereford.
Mate, it's a small
Um,
world.
yeah, and I was like, oh, that's weird. He's like, I've had a few beers with your dad in the barrels. I was like, what? Why don't I know this? My dad is he's a pain in the ass, my old man. He doesn't tell me shit. But yeah. Oh
My
fucking
son
hell.
would probably say exactly the same thing, buddy.
Mm. Yeah, my daughters will be the same when they get older. Fucking hell. Uh, what was your first where was your first tour then? Was it Northern Ireland?
ADS, ADS,
All right. How did that go?
guarding Navy nukes, waiting for decommissioning. What a job!
Oh.
4 days on, 4 days off, 4 nights, four off. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was pretty repetitive, pretty boring.
Yeah, as they say, living the dream.
Yeah, and then when ADS closed, they reformed 51, so 46, 48 of us went up straight up to Lossie. The rest,
All right, yeah.
107, because this column was really big. It was like almost 200 people. It's ridiculous. And we had
Yeah.
6 flights. So the rest all just went
Oh, fucking
on to
yeah.
the regiment. They reformed 51. We were the nucleus hardcore that reformed 51 and brought chaos and terror back to Rossenelf. and the former
Yeah.
Squadron again, because 48 had not long been disbanded.
Hmm.
So they thought they got rid of us, and no, 51's coming back.
They're coming back to the.
Good days they were, good times, mate, and they were some of the best years, without a doubt.
It must have been good. It must have been nice, should I say, and good being on the likes of 51, 3 Squadron, 34, away from Honington.
Yeah. I never went back to Huntington apart from to go back as a recruit instructor.
Yeah. That's all I fucking knew was Honington. It was like, oh, great.
It's not nice, the place.
Yeah. I had the issue coming towards the end of my time was because I had developed a skill of being a signaller. It was difficult for me to be moved on anywhere because it was like, no, we need to keep him because he's good at his fucking job. He's staying. Oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah. It's a dark art being a signaller, mate. I've been one. I've been a
yeah, fucking hell. Tell me about it.
No one likes radios. Set that up.
I got stitched up for it as well. So it was we were getting ready to deploy to CAF when they started bringing in the Lance Corporal role, and there was 5 of us getting ready to like potentially go on the course. And then next thing I know, someone has told Sergeant Perio Stone that I loved comms. I don't know who the fuck told him that. And then next thing I know, I've been taken off this like pre-FT1 course. I've been removed from that and then put onto advanced fucking
signaller.
Someone
really didn't like you.
Yeah. I was like, well, I wasn't surprised, put it that way. But yeah.
We can laugh and joke about it, but you know, I've had to rely on signallers to get me out of the crap.
Yeah.
You know, when they're they could be as well be on the other side of the world because you're on the end of a radio and a handset, you know, but what they can provide is it's life-saving, mate. So don't look at it. It's a important role. Someone's got to do it.
It was, and we got a lot of shit. Don't get me wrong. You know, comms biff and all that sort of shit. You know, you're a nerd, blah blah blah. Anyway, it is what it is. But
It is.
without fast thinking and getting the relative information, you know, things might have been a lot slower. Helping Robbo out and helping Robbie Priddle out and
absolutely, mate. You know,
and all that sort of thing. Because
no comms, no bombs.
Exactly. What a lot of people don't realise is the desk next to me is the air desk. So they're the ones talking to Mert and talking to Pedro and all that sort of thing, or even dropping in the bombs, you know, without getting the information passed to and from. You know, no comms, no bombs.
Mate, I know it all too well when I've had 2 Cobras firing over above my head.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna have to touch on it. We're going to have to touch on it, the world famous or infamous Battle of Britain. Battle of Bastion.
Oh, I'm not that old.
Battle of Bastion, the infamous, you know, the one where the RAF Red shot their own body armor, but in their own words.
Mate, if I had the time to do that, which I pretty much didn't.
Love it.
The Lance had enough time deflecting shrapnel as it was. You know,
why not?
Shit.
Why not let a rumor get in the way of the truth? You know what I mean? Or why let the truth spoil a good rumor? Should I say?
Oddly enough, mate, in the part of the tail end of the book, it's called one of the chapters is called Afterthought. It covers some of that stuff because I've been in other messes, or even the mess at Lossiemouth when there's been certain members of the other branches in it talking about what happened at Bastion and not realizing that I was actually there.
Yeah.
And it was quite interesting to hear some of the crap that these people come out with.
Oh, I love it.
And oddly enough, I actually got a lot of stick from 2 sergeants who were at Sandhurst. You know, got to the point, mate, it was like that, but this is getting a bit close to the bone. I didn't know who these people are. Why are they slating me? Because I was doing my job.
Yeah.
You know,
that always confused me as well. Whenever I heard any sort of war stories about it and whatnot, because
you can't take nothing. You got to take everything with a pinch of salt to actually hear it from someone who's actually there.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you get the ground truth.
Yeah. Well, I never sort of speculated or thought any different. I was like, well, I haven't actually spoken to anyone that was actually there on the day when it happened, so I'm not going to take any sort of conclusion from any of this rumor mill that's going on. Like 1 minute it's the RAF Reg let them in because they were asleep in the towers, and next minute it never really happened. They just shot their own body armor and said it happened. It's like,
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll be able to dispel some myths here, mate.
love that.
We'll start
That
off with we'll start off with the Eastern Perimeter. So the Eastern Perimeter was held by Task Force Helmand. So that's the rear echelon on Camp Bastion. It wasn't a wing task at the time. The wing did an estimate. It was passed to up the chain of command. It even went to PGHQ about certain things needed to change in the perimeter. Task Force Helmand held the risk. They were happy, content. Bastion was a benign area. Hence why only every other tower was manned. It wasn't manned by infanteers as such. It was manned by the rear esh of Bastion. That was anything from a driver, a cook. You know, they're in towers manning the GPMG that they weren't qualified. There was no night sights. There was no radios. There was no defensive plan. There had no interlinked arcs of fire. There was debate. It was a recipe for disaster. And then you had the Tongans in the mix with that as well. But you know, you wouldn't have seen it at the time. You might have seen it at the time about it. The big white bus used to go around the towers and stop at every tower that was manned, do a changeover every day, and it would go off Trundle 400-500 meters, stop at the next tower. And they never swapped the towers over, they were just fixed. So anyone looking in, it was, it's pretty easy to work out a pattern of life and how the shutters were open or closed. That's how they did their recce. They tested the towers. They were quite meticulous in their recce prior to carrying out the complex attacks. And that's been well documented. They released a propaganda video about it. They had Bastion mapped out on the whiteboard. I've used that on plenty of briefs. I got it from the PM's brief because that was on his desk within 24 hours.
Yeah.
And after the event, they traced their route, they traced their staging posts, how they got in. There was a lot of time and thought that went into that. And it wasn't your $5 Taliban. They all came from the Haqqani network. Extremely well trained, extremely well funded. More importantly, they were extremely well equipped. We carry 6 magazines and enough rounds to fill them. They were carrying 13 magazines and 13 bags of ammunition. So they're carrying 26 mags of ammunition. That's a vast amount of weight.
Yeah, and that's not light. That's not fucking light. That. Fuck me.
It's not. But we'll get to that. But so that would dispel a few myths. The RAF wasn't in charge of the perimeter. The RAF was just in charge of UK flight ops. The perimeter was Task Force Helmand.
Yeah. So
clearly, after the Bastion attack,
that was very strange to me. Just hearing that. Obviously, I sort of knew that, but also don't. Why wouldn't you use the subject matter experts on airfield defence to defend the airfield?
Well, they learned a lot from that, didn't they? Because when we deployed back out on Herrick 19, we had 500 people in the wing almost.
Yeah.
We had 2 regiment squadrons, one doing just the eastern perimeter, one doing the outside stuff. We had the Tongan Royal Marines. We had a platoon of the army who were supporting some of the towers. We had all the other attache suits. I think it was the Bulgarians. No, it wasn't. It was the Bosnians. They come under the wing. Mate, it was big. Because I wasn't allowed out on the ground when we went back on Herrick 19 because they thought, oh no, we'll keep you inside the wire. So I ran the CSS for the Eastern Perimeter, and it was vast and it's multinational. Every tower was manned. Every tower was like a mini PB. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. That's the way you defend an airfield.
Yeah.
The Americans were doing it on the other side, but the Task Force Helmand didn't want to do that.
Of course not. They know it all. So.
Well, yeah, clearly not.
Yeah. So they were well manned, well gunned, and ready for a fight. The Taliban.
Yeah, they were, mate. So and under the week leading up to it, we had just gone on to our 2-week on base rotation where we did QRF, MERT, and on base an off-base QF. So the first week, you know, I had the week off, so I was kind of writing SJARs. SJARs don't stop because you're on ops. Clearly, when you've got fucking 40 things to write, so I'm not a pain in the ass. So I did that the first week. And the second week, I swapped over my boss. So I took over QF, running multiple. So we had 2 Jackals and a Ridgeback, and there's 11 of us, stroke 12. It fluctuated between 12 and 13, 11 to 13. But I only had 11 because of R&R and people going off to go on R&R and people coming back. So we had 11 that week. Mate, that was probably one of the busiest weeks I've ever seen in QRF. We went to support 2 call signs who were in contact in the AO. So we got involved with that. We went to 2 ID strikes. We went to 2 high-value target strikes on couriers by Apaches. We intercepted an RPG team who were coming up from Nadi Alley after hitting a British call sign. Arrested them, dealt with them. That, you know, it was a really busy week. So the time we got to the Friday night, or the Friday, you know, the troops, you know, we were pretty fucking shot. You know, and we're going back out on the ground for 4 weeks, you know, thinking, fucking hell, can't sustain this. This is just fucking ridiculous. Friday was, oddly enough, it was strangely quiet. There wasn't a lot of transit going through the AO. It was particularly quiet. There wasn't much going on across that part of Helmand or Bastion down towards the Shoel. It was pretty quiet, which is good for us. It gave the troops a bit of time to turn the kit around. More importantly, turn the vehicles, the weapons around. Reclaim water, refuel, wash, ready for the handover on Saturday morning.
The important
stuff. Because you know, when you're out on the ground, you know, we were out. I think our longest day was 16 hours out. So we went out and we didn't come back until 8, 9 o'clock at night. And you know, it's pitch black. Really, you know, movement is really restricted at night when you're out on the ground because you can't see fuck all. But, you know, we didn't have a choice. You know, we had a fucking DNA and fucking a blown up fucking motorbike in the back. You know, that had to get back to Bastion for examination. So yeah, we got back in. So Friday night, we went down to the mess as usual at 5:30. I think we got back up with QRF at about 7:45. So the guys go have a shower, pick up some shit because the following day we're doing handover. And I think it's about 9:30. One of the lads, because the lads, you know, you probably know this yourself. You know, you don't have a sleeping pattern when you're in ops because it's always broken sleep. You either, if you're out in the ground, like you've got to do like stag. So you're on radio stag, you're on sentry stag, on one of the gun positions, or you're on the RWS. So we all rotate through that. So you know, and when you're getting to QRF, you're like that. You know, 4 hours sleep, and you're probably getting up and restless. You want another brew or something. So some of the guys would sleep at a drop of a hat, and half of us, mostly all the commanders, wouldn't. Once you're in that routine of not having a lot of sleep, it's really hard to get into a routine of trying to sleep a lot in one go. So I went out,
as you said, a lot of broken sleep.
So I went out to the thunder boxes outside for a piss. This is probably just before 10 o'clock. And I was just going back in because the lads had just put on Rock and Roller, the film.
Great movie.
And then all of a sudden behind me, I heard this crump. I was like, what? No alarms going off. It's a bit strange. Usually when you get IDF, we have some form of something will one of the sensor warmer pick it up. And then there's another one. Then there's this massive explosion. And I thought, that's actually pretty close. It's like 500 meters away. I was like, oh, yeah, that's on base. Then it's like tracer everywhere. Green and red tracers just started flying about and ricocheting everywhere. And I thought, yeah, something's happening here. So I went back in. I stood the troops to went back outside, trying to get my body armor on. Bits of kit hanging off everywhere. Big Richard Story, my fire support, my FSG commander, come up to me. Big Yorkshire lad, strong as a bull. He goes, what's up? And I goes, look. And he's like, fuck. Goes back in. All the troops are around there now. They're all kitting up, getting into the vehicles. And I made a purpose of them telling them to get all the comms on, including ground to air, and every weapon loaded, but don't make ready the belt-fed weapons. Every other weapon was made ready. Because I didn't know what we were going into. Clearly, it was something big that's happening on base. Could have been anything. It could have been like you know, there's all sorts of scenarios running through your head because you
Yeah,
don't know what
yeah,
you're going into. So off we pop. So we come out the QRF bit. 2 jackals leading with the Ridgeback behind, and as you know, at night Ridgeback driving thermal cameras.
yeah.
So the Ridgeback commandos like that. Sarge, I can't keep up. I can't see you. I goes, right, stop. Right, head towards the bottom end of the main runway, get on it, and head up the runway up to the top end of Bastion because the airfield had already been closed. That come over the comms. And at that stage, they were asking us, like, can you go to Tower 22 and see what's going on? And that, I was pretty sure it's not in the towers, but off we went. So we went 2 jackals. So it was like, how many was this? There's only 6 of us. Yeah, so there's only 6 of us.
Jeez.
So Stoz led, we stopped short of Tower 22 because I could see some blokes moving out the bottom of it. And I was like, Tower 22, that's a Tongan tower. So he goes, right, Stoz, cover us. I'm just going to go up in my vehicle and we'll just see what's going on. So we get there and I was like, oh, fucking hell, what are you doing? He goes, well, looking at the fireworks. So I was like, get in that fucking tower, you fucking lunatics.
Fucking hell.
How about manning your arms? They're like, oh, mister. And off they scuttle in. Pretty sure I didn't open the hatches at the top. But, hey, yeah, that's a by the by. So I told Stoz, right, I'm going to mount back up, go up to the flight line, see if we can find a route to get onto the top end of the flight line. So off he went, and I got in a vehicle. I let Zero know what was going on. Tower 282, no, nothing here. It's on the flight line somewhere. They go, fine, proceed with caution. I was like, fucking hell, no shit, proceed with caution. I don't know how many times I got told that night, proceed with caution. Fucking no shit. So off we go. I'm out with Stoz. We found our route onto the flight line where all the Harriers were parked on the Sunchase. And mate, there was already 2 burning. 2 had been RPG'd. And then all of a sudden, we just saw an RPG go straight into another Harrier. And these are fully laden, so they're fully fueled, fully armed, and
fully armed and fully fueled.
Yeah, ready to rock and roll with the ground support. And I was like, I thought, my first thought was, well, that's impressive.
That's
a lot of money getting
you can't knock
away,
it, can you? They've done a fucking good job there. Fair play.
So we didn't stay static. We were moving about on the stop, and we see an odd bit of tracer, another explosion, something starting to cook off. And I thought, I did make a point to myself at that point, because you really need to move away from aircraft when they're going tits up, when you're only 300 meters away from them. You really want to be further away. And just as I was thinking that, an RPG went right over the top of us. And then before I knew it, Ollie, who was manning my 50 above me, just slew the gun round and just started rattling off, and then sent a sighting report. And quick as it started, it stopped. And I thought, fucking hell, that fucking gun's loud. Trying to hear myself think.
Yeah.
And Berkey,
don't know how loud
Berkey, the commander, stood up on his fucking front seat and was like, "Will you stop fucking firing that thing above my head?" He goes, "I think try and get my ear defence in." One side of his hearing was blown out, and Ollie's like, "What?" Put his ear defence back in.
At least he's going to get a good claim out of it.
Yeah. So there's light-hearted moments like that throughout the night. And so we started to leapfrog about. We didn't stay static after that point. And then about 900 meters back down towards where the Ospreys and CH-53s were.
Yep.
The US Marines transport aircraft. There was this massive fireball. Mate, it was like a mini nuke going off. And they obviously hit one of the fuel bladders.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. So I called the Ridge back up. He comes trundling. I goes, right, stay here. Don't let anyone get past you. And there's lunatics over there with RPGs. He went, "Oh, I'll be right. I'm in the Ridgeback." I said, "No, really?"
Yeah, okay.
So off we went. Then Stoz went heading down the flight line on the runway, and then I met up. I thought, I saw all these blue lights coming. I thought, that's got to be fucking Trumpton. It's got to be Trumpton. So lo and behold, it's all the crash, fire, and rescue.
Yeah.
Being led by my on-base QRF in their Vixen Plus, because you can't off camp. So the on-base QRF at the time, that was just a token effort. One was to respond to any incident on 604 where we were located, and because Prince Harry was there, that was their secondary. But he had a Met Police Protection Squad with him, so he got squirreled away to a safe location. Despite reports that he was up in Apache and on Q. Yeah, it was he fuck. Yeah, he got squirreled away. So I met up with Smudge, my own base QRF, and I goes, where you going with this lunatics? Because there's so much fucking shit shooting over the top of us. I was like, right, tell them to disappear 400 meters that way, and we'll give them the green light when they come and start tackling these fires, because there was so much shit flying them out at this point. It wouldn't safe for them, the firemen at the end of the day. So off they went. They backed off. So we then went around the back of these maintenance hangars where the Ospreys were, and we drove right into a two-way range. So Stoz was leading, Smudge, then me, and there's a group of US Marines, and there was one of the 5-man team insurgents. We were like, we just drove into a two-way range.
Yeah.
And all I heard was like one of the GPMGs of the lead Jackal just bark into life, and then all went quiet, and there was like 4 bodies on the ground. I was like, okay, and all these US Marines just fucking vaporized, disappeared into the night, scuttled off. I was like, what the fuck? Where'd they gone? And we like left there on our own. It was really eerie. And then towards another massive explosion, another fuel bladder went off. So I went to Stoz, and Smudge goes, right, go up into the high ground over there, see if you got a vantage point. I'm going to dismount the Berkey. I'm going to check to see who these guys are. I'll relay that back to 0. I'll get you back in comms. That, yeah, no bother. So off they go. So me and Berkey, one of my juniors, we're checking these guys. They're all, you can tell they're insurgents. They've got white trainers on, white vests, but they're all wearing grey Digicam American captured uniform, hats, all rank insignia, patches, names. So it's all been stolen from washers.
Yeah, by the washers, yeah.
But they're all dressed exactly the same. Oddly enough, one of them had a 16 Air Assault Brigade patch, but it was upside down. That's always stuck in my mind. I've got a picture of that somewhere.
Yeah.
So I start feeding this back to the siege op. Sit rep. This is what we've got. This is what we found. And then all I heard was Smudge of the PRR. Sarge, get up here. Contact right. And the whole world, you could hear it just erupt. Yeah, because they're effectively being ambushed by 60 meters away. And another group of 5 were waiting for the follow-up QRF. They didn't get to their target. I think their target was the righteous call sign, the Cobra deck. That I think they got a bit lost and tangled. They ended up in the cryogenic bay, where they store all the aircraft gases that are under constant cooling. If I had known at the time, I probably wouldn't have fragged it with Cobra gunships, but I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
So I got up there.
Hindsight's a good thing, though.
It gets better in a minute. So I get up there, I pull my vehicle. So I've got Stoz's Jackal, his guns. Well, his gun wasn't firing because he had the GMG, but his top cover was firing. A couple of guys were dismounted. The Vixen was over here, and I pulled up behind, level with Stoz. And I was like, fucking hell, what's going on? And this fucking RPG went arcing over the head, and it just erupted. And the guys were just dismounting, returning fire. And I was like, fucking hell. So I, sit right back to 0, contact way out. It was ridiculous. You think, I'm on a main base here. We've driven into an ambush.
Yeah, you've driven into an ambush on your own base. That's mental.
Yeah. So, and they were firing a mix of standard AK rounds and armor-piercing rounds, because the rounds were going straight through some of the doors in the Jackal.
Yeah.
There was some nice niche drilled round holes. They didn't have a lot of armor-piercing rounds, but they had a lot of RPGs. Fucking hell, did they ever? We're taking RPGs, small arms, PKM. All that was getting chucked at us. And then you get something that no commander really wants to hear. That's someone starts screaming, man down, man down.
Yeah.
And Big Stoz took a round to his, I remember right, it's his right leg, and partially severed his leg. Blew out 4 inches of his shin, tib and fib.
Oh.
He was, of course, that has a profound effect on people.
Yeah, of course it does.
So he's getting dragged behind the Jackal to get treated. The medic, Kaylee, there's a lot to be said about women in combat. She was gleaming that night. She didn't bat an eyelid. She ran across open ground to get to him, to treat him. Gilly saw one of his best friends. He went into really deep shock. So he got dragged back into the Vixen. I'm like, fucking hell. Just like, okay, right, what's the priority? Right, let's get Stoz. Sponge, get Stoz in the back of the Vixen, take away the medic, leave to the dismounts, take Gilly with you, get him to roll free, and then come straight back. Because we could be here on our own, out on a limb here. He goes, yeah, no bother. So off they go. So this is now 10:36. So, it's not a long period of time from getting onto the flight line, our first couple of contacts, till now where we are. So, I start assessing the situation, send more sit reps back to CJOC, send my MISTAT, let them know that roll free is going to start having incoming casualties, which is quite good, really, when you think about it, because they're straight on the phone to roll free, stand by.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was
you can
going
have
to say
casualties rolling in anytime soon, and not just UK ones. So yeah, that was all good, up until the point where I decided, you know what, I'm going to move my jackal, because I've got the 50 cal on top of it, like move that forward 12 feet so you can use the gun, get a better arc of fire into it. And they're like, yeah, great idea. So Ollie's up on the 50, starts turning it round. Berkey's guiding them, and Sooty, Lancecott Suitmeyer, he was the driver. So they move it forward 12 feet, great arc for the gun, 50 starts rattling. Sooty jumps out, just about to close the door, and an RPG went flying straight into the cab, blew out the front end of it. Sooty took the full force of it in his arm and face, so he got pretty shredded. Ollie, clearly all the blasts went up the way, threw all the frag at him. I didn't know he was hit at that point. Not until a bit late, about 5 minutes afterwards. Clearly, Sooty was in a bad way.
Yeah.
So Corporal Timmis, he come out with Vixen, grabbed him. Him and Berkey got him into the centre, start, treating him. He was covered in blood. Literally, it was everywhere. And it's dark. But, you've got all these like 100-foot flames above you, just silhouetting you in the night sky. And thinking, fucking hell, look at us, we're sitting ducks here. But as I'm looking at that, I'm realizing, you know what, I'm losing all my manpower here. Yeah. And then, so the .5 was taken out. The GPMG that's on the front of the Jackal was in 2 bits hanging, that had been blown. Stoz's front GPMG had to go around for the gas regulator, so that was not functional. The GMG was put out of action by PKM, so we're on our personal weapons now, and I've only got like a handful of people, if that.
Yeah.
And then Ollie crawls around the corner from the vehicle. It was like, and he was pretty fucked up. I thought his femoral artery had been nicked because he had a real chunk out of the inside of his leg. And I thought, fucking hell, this is getting nuts. And then SSC Sid Holcroft took a round strike to the front of his helmet. He was right next to me, and he just dropped his weapon, and there was blood going down his face. I was like, fucking hell, mate, you just been shot in the head. Fucking hell, get over here. Took his helmet off, and his helmet's got a crack. He only had a gash in his head. I was like, fucking one lucky fucker. I took a round strike, you're going to walk away from that. Yeah. But I thought, fucking hell, what am I going to do now? I've got no vehicles. So I went to Tilly and Berkey. He goes, right, get these lot patched up, get them on the feet. We'll cover you across the dead ground, get them into that dead ground over there, then get them over to where the fire trucks are. He goes, oh yeah, I know where they are. I goes, right. And then I looked around, I realised like there's only me. I took some frag for that RPG strike. I went into the side of my knee. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, I'm in agony here. But the adrenaline that's coursing through you, kind of knolls that way. I looked down at it. I do recall looking down at it and I think, fucking hell, what's that sticking out? I just pulled out my fingers. Yeah. Didn't think any of it. I thought, I'll come back to that later. I've got A casualties here. The guys are fighting to keep them alive. So there's me. There's young Luke Harrington. You'll like this bit, mate. So he's only been on the flight 2 weeks. He spent the whole tour as a signaller in a CJOC. So he got attached to us.
Yeah.
Ground experience. And it's his first tour. Not been on squadron long, so he's straight out of training. Did his comms course and he thought, yeah, I'll sit in the CJOC. And they rotated him out. He come to us and he's like fucking white-eyed. He's like, fucking hell, Sarge, what do I do now? What to do? I guess, like, take the left flank. Whatever you do, don't let anybody flank us. He goes, what happens then? Because if the flankers, we're fucked. And I said the same thing to big Luke Harrington. He's did a little stint in the army, big, big bloke, really nice bloke, really likable. I goes, right, when I say rapid, look, kid, give everything you've got to cover these lads to get them into the dead ground. They're like, yeah, all right. And so I goes, right, rapid. And Big Luke just broke away from the side of the vehicle, stood up, put down covering fire, and I could see the rounds flying past him, over him, hitting the ground in front of him. Didn't bat an eyelid. Mate, it's one of the bravest things I ever saw, just to cover his comrades, to get to dead ground, so we can extract him. And then he got back in, and then he goes, "Fucking hell, what's that? You're right, mate." And he's got his fag hanging out his mouth. It's broken in two. He goes, "You got a light?" I went, "What about that? Fucking backfiring." And I was like, "Fucking!" I realised then, like, I was in a bit of shit.
Yeah.
There's only 3 of us left. Everything's fucked. And it was really hard listening to the comms, because I've got a pressed against my ear. I've got the PRR, and I'm trying to keep these guys motivated, trying to fill magazines when they're emptying quicker than we could fill them.
Yeah.
We didn't have so much ammo with us. I think I was thinking, this is getting nuts. This is getting turbo nuts. So I just grabbed the handset and went, breaking in, 030 Bravo. I need an emergency close air support, and I need it now. And then Roger, send your location. Send your grid references. That I'm on fucking Bastion. I haven't got a gridding map of Bastion. I'm on the off-base QRF.
Yeah.
I
didn't even think of that.
and that was one of the learning points. They're like, why the fuck would I want that? I'm the off-base QRF. I'm not supposed to be doing this. This is the last thing that's supposed to be happening. I was like, here's my 10-figure grid reference. Work it out for yourself. But luckily, we had a Predator and a Hermes 460 above us, so everything's now getting recorded.
Pop your head outside. Pop your head outside. I'm there.
I've got some of the footage. It's because the JTAC sent me it, and I went, look, I need it now. We're going to get outflanked here. They're just going to roll us. And he goes, all right, we've got 2 Cobras who managed to go into a holding pattern. So when the Bastion was hit, they put all the alert stuff in the air, so the Apache and 2 Cobras were scrambled straight away. But the Cobras, because they're in the holding pattern, they had to go to Fob Price, which is down Nally Alleyway, to refuel and rearm. It's the first time they've received Cobras, because they used to receive Apaches. So the Cobras would disappear off and refuel. That's how fucking big it was. It was mental. So this is probably now 48 minutes into it. Yeah, that's about 48 minutes into it. And my world is falling apart. So Stan goes, yeah, I'm struggling to identify you. I goes, what do you mean you're struggling to identify? He goes, mate, it all looks the same. Everything's white out. I goes, okay, well, what can we do? Right. So we put some tracer into a top of a mag. I know we're less than 100 meters away, but it will spark off or something. Something will see something. So we just let it. I've only got 3 rifles. Not much we can do. I didn't even have a 66 because we were off base care. That would have been quite handy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I goes, right, try and watch our fire. And so as we were directing it, he caught the trail of an RPG coming out, which went skimming over the top of our vehicle. And he goes, and all I heard from the Cobra pilots was, tally position, standby, incoming. And I was like, fucking hell, this is actually going to happen. I didn't get all what Stan was saying to him, because I can only hold one handset at a time.
Yeah.
But Stan got them to overshoot and then walk the rounds on. But it's pretty scary when you've got a Cobra firing over your shoulder of a 20mm cyclic cannon. Yeah. 60 meters away. It's danger close. I had to authorize danger close because its guideline was 250 meters. I'm like, and I'm wanting to fire 60 meters away.
Especially with a 20 millimeter cannon.
20mm cannon. And I was like, fucking hell. And I went to the guys, take cover. Because when he said like incoming 5 seconds, that 5 seconds felt like a minute. I physically felt myself wanting to get a spoon out and dig a hole. Because I didn't know where. And Stan, the JTAC in the siege op, didn't know where the rounds were going to go either. Because he knew where we were. He wasn't quite sure if the pilots knew. So he didn't look at the screen when the first lot of rounds went in. And when I said, no, closer, walk and bring him in, he's like, well, I'm hitting the right area then, I'm not hitting you.
Yeah. You haven't been hit yet. That's a good thing.
And then so they walked on and they did 4 or 5 different gun runs. And then they had go off and refuel. And the Apache was then up there. By that stage, some of the other call signs had got onto Bastion. So I had 2 jackals from B Flight got to my location first. One of them was my good friend, and Stoz's best mate, Drew, who was the other only fire support commander in the squadron. And he's like, Sarge, come over here and briefing going on. I was no fucking way I was going over that open ground. I was like, come over here, twat. He got over to us, and he's looking around. There's discarded magazines, med kit, weapons, body armor, blood everywhere. And he's like, I went, look, like, Stoz is all right. Don't worry about Stoz. He's all right. He'll be all right. I was like, what else could I say to the guy?
Yeah.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. And he's like, oh. Because I see him. I could see he's wanting to ask. And then he's like, where the fuck's everybody else? And goes, mate, this is it. This is what's left in my call sign. And he's like, holy fuck. And then about a minute later, Smudge turned back up after dropping Stoz off. But he had 4 Pedro pararescue guys with him. They'd come off the day shift.
They're pretty cool.
So he picked them up. They kitted up and started tapping across the airfield.
Of course they did.
So I gave them the lowdown as well, and Stoz's crude weapons started firing. And his dismount started firing. So I felt a little bit better. My QF on base is back. I've got 4 Pedro pararescue guys with me. So if we're taking more casualties, we're going to be pretty squared away.
Yeah.
And then I got word over the radio that 40 Alpha is en route to my location. And I was like, who the fuck's 40 Alpha? We don't have mortars out here.
Yeah. I was going to say that's mortars, isn't it?
It didn't occur to me that the squadron had generated a reserve at that stage.
Oh, right, yeah.
It wasn't in the planning. So what they did is everyone that was stood down or waiting to go in RR, who had just come back from R&R, dragged into compound, put into some form of squadron. It wasn't many. There's only about 14 of them. That was led by the DSE, Kev O'Brien, and the OC had his little tuck group behind them. So they come out, and then it's like a case of like, how are we going to do this position? How are we going to get in and clear this compound where these fucking idiots are? So Smudge goes, well, let's go right flanking over the top of the wall and just drop down on top of them. I went, man, we've got a whole compound to clear first. Let's clear this side of it, and then we'll go to the right hand side of it and deal with that position. He goes, okay then. So I briefed the DSC. He goes, right, okay. Get one of your lads to go brief that to the OC, make sure the OC is happy with it. And I looked at young Harrington, and he's like, I don't know what you said. I have no idea what you just said. I was like, okay, I'll be back in 5 minutes. So I hobbled off, briefed up the OC, and he's like, yeah, I'm happy with that. He goes, are you all right? He goes, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I goes, see if we can find out how the troops are. He's like, yeah, don't worry, we're on that. So off I went back, and then I kind of made up 2 assault sections. Oddly enough, my flight commander was on that reserve unit that come out.
Yeah.
He goes, right, Smudge, take the first assault section. The boss is going to be with you, but keep him right. You're in charge, type thing. And me and Fish, who was one of the juniors from B Flight, we'll go with the second assault section, but they'll be made up with the 4 Pedro guys because that's all we had. And he's like, right, okay. So Smudge goes in, I go in. It was a bit of a fuck about getting over the barbed wire to get into this little compound because it's not like we could walk in the main gate.
Yeah, got you. Yeah.
So we got in there. So it's kind of broken down into 2 areas. So the front bit by side of the road was like the working area where the offices and storerooms are, and the back bit is where there's a big row of generators. Then the back bit is where the gases are stored. So Smudge went down the far end, and I got to generators, and we both turned right at the same time, and then headed across, and then Smudge will come back down the way. So I was going past these fucking generators. These are the big industrial generators. I was like, I can't hear myself fucking think. I can hardly breathe next to these things. So as I was going past them, I was turning them off, not really thinking about what their power was going to at the time. That was the least of my concern. I got to the last one, and I couldn't reach the button to turn it off because all I could hear is rounds hitting the other side of this fucking generator. I'm not sticking it around there, not at this point. And then I heard Smudge, right, assault section's ready. Lead pair are going off. The lead pair was Smudge and another Corporal Lee, Ugg. So they broke off from the other 6, then the other 6 started moving. Then there was a massive burst of PKM fire. So the other 6 that are just leaving the Hesco wall, all this PKM fire went between all 6 of them. And the boss is like, oh, fuck that. Turned around and went the other way. And smudgers committed them. And then 2 hand grenades come flying out and blew them both off their feet. And I thought, fuck, no, hand grenade, no. I couldn't get comms with smudge. And I thought, fucking hell, they're dead. No. And all I could think about now was, I'm going to break cover. I'm just going to charge and sort of position myself. Then I heard, I'm going to PRR. We've just gone back another 5-6 meters, and he put an EGL round straight into it. Then there was a burst of 0.5 bomb one of the jackals, and then Smudge and Nug just went in, assaulting position. And another 5 insurgents were toast.
And days.
That gave us a bit of a respite. We then cleared the rest of the compound, which was really eerie. You know, we went to these like port cabin offices. So I had this rescue guy from Pedro, a lad called Bear. I can't remember what rank. He was a master sergeant. So fucking, he was a huge bloke. But he was a unit.
Yeah.
You know, bear in mind they're almost tier 1 SF. And so we opened this door, right? And I'm thinking, fucking hell, if someone opens up on someone in here, these rounds are going to go straight for these port cabins. I don't know where they're going to go. I don't know who's on the other side. Right? You're thinking, this is fucking nuts. So we go into this second port cabin. The kettle had not long boiled. The TV was still on. There's a rack of M16s. There's fucking no US rings about. Where the fuck is everybody? The kit there, the helmet, the weapons there. Where the fuck have they all gone? They've just gone into the night. To get away from these lunatics. Yeah, get away from these lunatics. Because they were just going around this compound shooting shit up. I mean, it must have been pretty scary for them.
So must have been scary, but also US Marines. What?
Well, they're not combat Marines, they're flight line technicians, mate. So they're a Marine by default.
Marine by cat badge. Yeah.
But they're aircraft technicians, mechanics.
Got ya.
Because they're all, it's not like the Air Force, like they're all RAF regiment, then you go off to be an airplane mechanic. That's how the US Marines work. They're a Marine first, then they go off and do their technical stuff. So these like engineers, basically. I thought, fucking hell, that's really bizarre. So we went all round defence around this little cryogenics bay, and I thought, fucking hell, this is now probably about an hour and a half later, maybe a bit more. I don't know. I'm thinking, fucking, I haven't had a drink for an hour and a half. I've got fucking £90 worth of kit hanging off me. I'm fucking dehydrated. I'm mentally exhausted. My knees in clip.
So fucking hell, my knee hurts.
So I'm sitting there trying to bomb magazines. But you're a tax sergeant. I went through the whole of PDT. I didn't fire one round.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
yeah. Too busy organising shit.
Yeah.
Mate, I went through about 14, 15 mags up to this point. After, using other people's and bombing up. So I had to send one this Lance Corporal Ogilvy. I always remember him because I took him through basic training until he dislocated his knee. So I said, look, OG, go around all the troops and get an ammo state and make sure everyone's all right. But all round the inside of this little Hesco wall. He goes, off he scuttles. I went to Smudge, like, go find someone else, go get ammo. Because we're going to have to rebomb here. And while you're at it, get some fucking water, because I'm fucking jaded here. And he's like, so he comes back, gives me 2 bottles of water and a little.
Yeah.
So I put one in my trouser pocket and I tanked one in one go. I thought, fuck. And he goes, there's some ammunition. And then OG comes back and goes, I've got 9 extra bandoliers. I was like, nice one, I'll take that. I'll take that in reserve. So I put 9 bandoliers on me.
Just fucking
Didn't think anything of it at the time, mate. And then
full Rambo. It
all kicked off again up at the top end where the Harriers were again. Because there's still another 5 dudes up there. So the boss sent up 2 jackals to go investigate. They got up onto the flight line, and on the flight line, between the sunshades and the actual flight line buildings, there's these massive 12-foot back-to-back blast walls. So if any of the planes had a munition failure, they would have some form of protection. So they got up into where these blast walls were, and they got contacted by these 5 dudes up there. And knowing what we had just gone through over the last couple of hours, they thought, you know what, we're going to fucking extract and get back on the comms. So they got back onto the JTAC. So by this stage, the Apache had gone back to FOB Price, and we had a Huey and a Cobra. I don't know where the Huey came from. I think it came from FOB Price. So the JTAC located them via the Predator feed and engaged them with the Cobra and the Huey gunship. Must have, yeah, they put a lot of rounds into them. I've seen the footage. Yeah, it didn't take an awful lot to make them not stop moving. But yeah, they didn't do one gun run. They fired multiple runs. They didn't kill. Only 3 of them were killed. No, 4 of them were killed. One was still alive, but he managed to scuttle away to another set of blast walls. And then the OC goes, right, we're going to have to go up and clear the flight line. I was like, fuck me, that's like fucking 900 meters away. Yeah, and he goes, you up to this? I went, oh, okay, of course I am. So again, I've now got, I think I had about 8 blokes, and the boss took the other 8 blokes. I purposely took smudge with me because I realised we're actually going to be the flight line. We're going to be open as fuck, and the boss is going to clear the buildings. So we got into these drainage ditches either side of the main drag, going up to where the flight line is on the Perry track sort of thing. And we had a Ridgeback leading, and then 2 Jackals, JTAC, which was the DSC, and then another 2 Jackals and the OC's TAC group. He goes, right, I'll let you control it because you've got to, we've got to fucking got these fucking drainage ditches. And I was like, so off we go, trying to keep level with this Jackal in the centre of the road. And then I realised I've got no antenna on my PRR because it had been shot off. And I was wondering why I was struggling to get comms. Because did you not hear that? I went, no, mate, I can't hear fuck all. Look, I've got no fucking antenna. Half it's been fucking shot off. He goes, I'll relay comms here. And so off we went. And we got about almost level with the Cobra jet. And I went, right, stop. I was like, fucking hell, I can't keep going up this hill. And then I realised, why am I carrying 9 bandoliers of ammunition?
That's fucking heavy.
I was really starting to struggle. My knee was like twice the size. And I had an FFD around it. So I took I cut the FFD off. I was like, right, you take that fucking bandoliers. And off we went again. It was a bit easier. So we went past the Cobra det. We got in halfway between where the Cobra det is and where the ground attack aircraft are kept on the actual top end pan. And there's some silhouettes on the high ground just to the left of us. And Smudge is like, can you see that? I goes, yeah, they've got really round heads. They look like Americans. Is that, you guys are right? Is that, hey man, yeah, what the fuck's going on? Is that, come over? Is that,
really round heads.
No fucking way, man. I was like, we'll fucking stay there then. So off we went again. We've got level with the flight line, and then the drainage ditch turned 90 degrees, which is quite handy. So we managed to spread everybody out. I went to the boss on the other side of the road, right? Get to the first building, hold, and we're then going to cross some of this. I think we had about 60 meters of really open ground to get to where the first blast walls are. He goes, once we get there, we'll go static, and then you go into the first building. He's like, yeah, no problem. So I looked at the guys, right, I went, right, go, fan out at least 2 to 3 meters between each one. They're like, why is that? Because we're crossing open ground. We've not just seen what we've gone through. Like, yeah, right. Okay. And one of the guys had only just come back from R&R. And he's like, fucking like, what the fuck's going on? Let's go. He's one of the snipers, in fact. So he had his sharpshooter with him. The sniper support weapon back then.
Yeah.
So we get across his open ground, nothing. I was like, fuck that, because that's all I needed. And then the boss goes into the first big building. And of course, if you've ever been inside the building, it's like a building, like got a metal frame exterior, but inside of it, they're putting all wooden walls to make mini little offices and working spaces. Yep. He said it's fucking like amazing there. This is nuts. He comes back out the other side, out the other door. He goes, right, building 1 clear. So off we go. And then we get to the blast wall where all these guys got fragged by the attack helicopters. So we kind of drew back about 20 meters, and Smugs was like, "What are we going to do?" He goes, "I don't care. Put 2 rounds into each of those bodies. I don't want one of them sitting up and setting something off." So we went down, put 2 rounds into each of them. Got to the end of this blast walls, they were massive blast walls. We went firm again. Then the boss went into the next building, and it went really quiet. And he come out the other end. I could hear him. He goes, "Fuck me, it's like the Wild West." And he goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "There's a fucking massive blood trail, but there's no bodies." So that was the Harrier Deck Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Rabble. I can't remember his first name, top of my head. So when they come under attack, the bottom building was the only building that had a complete 6-foot blast walls around it. Is at least they call that the Alamo. So if something happened on the flight line, that was their safety corner. They all went to there. So he started getting his troops out there, and he turned around, took his issued service pistol, went outside, started to engage these insurgents, and then got hit by an RPG. He killed him instantly. So his troops dragged his body back inside, and then eventually got him into what they call the Alamo. That's why there's this massive blood trail.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, fucking hell, that's a bit nuts.
That is correct.
Lots of blood, but no bodies. So off we went again. Boss cleared the next building, and we got to the last blast wall. And we're right opposite the corner where all these US Marines, these flight line techies were. And I goes, "Hey, you okay?" You know, he goes, "Yeah, the fuck are you?" He goes, "British QRF." He goes, "Hey, man, there's a dude over there." And I looked around the corner, and I was like, "Oh, I'll fucking shoot him." And he goes, "Oh, I can't see him." And I was like, "Oh, fucking God." And just as I was about to fucking bring my rifle up, a jackal screamed up beside me with one of my good friends, Joe Quigley, and he just let a burst into him from the front gun. But as he let the burst into the front gun, the guy was clearly killed instantly, but his hand dropped and a hand grenade rolled out his hand towards me, and I thought, "Fuck, no, I hope the fucking pin's in that." But it didn't go bang. I was like,
well, there's something. Every cloud.
And then we cleared the rest of the flight line. We then went firm. By this time, the whole squadron, bar one multiple, was now on Bastion, on the flight line. It's almost like we were doing pretty much a live squadron attack. You think hindsight, you think back, you think this is absolutely nuts. We're on a major ISAF base and we're doing a live squadron attack using attack helicopters. What is going on? What the? And then so the boss got us all into an O group. He goes, "Right, there's been no other contacts on the flight line." He goes, "There's multiple enemy dead. There's multiple US casualties, and clearly you've sustained a lot of casualties. We're going to go for at daylight. We're then going to form an extended line, use our fire support vehicles, and we're going to sweep back down the airfields in daylight." I goes, "Right, okay." So he went to the flight commanders and the other attack sergeants that were on Bastion. Goes, "Right, go brief that to the troops." And I was just about to get up. He read Doc's notes. Don't stay. He goes, "Okay, all right," because I thought I was going to get told off there. Yeah. And he goes, "Doc, fucking amazing fucking job." He goes, "You've done your bit. You're clearly struggling. The A post is getting set up down the other end of the airfield. I want you to go to the A post and get checked out." I was like, "Fuck, do I have to?" He went, "Yeah." He goes, "Don't worry, I'll let James, your boss, know that you'll be back." I was like, "Fuck, all right." And he goes, "Berkey's going to take you." And I was like, "Where the fuck did you come from?" He goes, "I've been told by the boss I've got to take you down to the A post." Because he knew well I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
And then I thought, "Fuck it, I'm not walking away back down there. I just walked up from there. Well, there's fucking no way I'll make that." Oddly enough, this jackal roars up beside me, and it was Drew. So that's Doz's best mate. So Drew's a corporal in B flight. He's now a commissioned officer, and he's a top bloke.
Yeah.
So they took me down to the A post. The A post was getting set up pretty much where my fuck vehicles were when we got ambushed. And I was like, and it's now almost daylight. So I goes, "Right, Drew, stop here. I'm going to get off here because I need to go get my day sack." Because I had no intention of going to the A post. Absolutely none.
Yeah.
And Drew goes, "All right, yeah, that's no bother." And I looked back up at Drew's vehicle and I went, "Drew," "What?" He goes, "What's that up there?" He goes, "That's my 66. He goes, "Mate, I can see that. That would have been really fucking handy last night." He went, and it never occurred to me that I had it. I was like,
Yeah.
Fucking hell. That would, because where these guys were held up, it was like an IDF bunker,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
an IDF bunker stroke smoking shelter, had cam nets over it, and it looked, he didn't know it was an IDF bunker because it was dark and it's got cam nets over it. So I had no idea what it was. Not until the morning, anyway. So we had a bit of a laugh about that and Drew fucked off. And Berkey goes, right, you going to the A post? I went, no, there's £1 million worth of kit I've signed for here. I want to make sure it's all workable and none of it's fucking fragged. So we start going that, and it's got that pile of weapons. Oddly enough, none of the radios got hit.
Wow.
Only the weapon systems. I thought, yeah, that's a bit odd. As if it's by magic they knew I needed comms. And then another vehicle pulls up about 25 minutes later, and it's the OC and the DSC. And the OC's like, Sergeant Geddes, what the fuck are you doing? Goes, I'm just checking those kits, sir. You can sign for it all. He goes, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about the kit. He goes, I'm not telling you to go to the DA post. I'm now ordering you. It's over there. Berkey, get into the A post. I'm ordering you to go to the A post. And I said, okay, fine. I'll go to the A post. And I met up with one of my buddies, Flight Sergeant John Ross, who was manning the Alt CP that night.
Yeah.
Which is in the compound. But the warrant officer, because we had that many casualties, we filled a ward up in roll 3. He was dealing with all the casualty notification side of it, so John set up the A post. So I got there and I was like, John, I've been sent, I've got to see the paramedic. He goes, because we had our squadron paramedic out with us. He goes, he's about something, I'll go grab him, just grab a seat by the Hesco wall. And I thought, fuck me, I sat there about 3-4 hours ago. I'll have to sit there again. So I sat there and Ryan, the paramedic, came up. He goes, you all right, old man? And I was like, I've had a better night.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, I can see that. So he rips open my combats to expose the full length of my knee, and my knee was like twice the size. It was black and blue. I was black. I was covered in cordite. I was looking down and I thought, I actually look a bit of a mess here. And he goes, that's you. That's index for you. He goes, you're going to have to go to roll 3 because your knee looks fucked. As soon as he said that, all the adrenaline left my body. Yeah. And I could physically feel myself going into shock because of what I'd been through. I was mentally, physically, and emotionally exhausted. And then, it started to hit me. As soon as he said, no, you're over, you've got to go to roll 3, all the adrenaline just left me. And I could physically feel myself shutting down. Yeah. I really started to panic. And he could see that. And he's like, fuck. He's like, right, Sergeant, we need to get into roll 3. We need a vehicle now. And John come over and he saw it. I couldn't even stand up. I couldn't move. I was like really grey. And he's like, fuck. So they threw me into the back of this Foxhound and took me round to where the police flight line checkpoint was, down by the RSY. That was a BFA meeting point for casualties. So I got there, and of course everyone's waiting to say, well, who's coming out the next BFA? Who is it now? And so I got fucking carried out, and then fucking, I had all my stuff with me, and my combats were ripped, covered in blood. I was covered in fucking smoke and cordite. I probably looked a bit of a state. And fucking people were like, fucking hell, what the fuck's going on? Because no one had a clue what was going on in Bastion.
Yeah, I bet.
And I got thrown in the back of this BFA with this army medic, and he goes, "What happened to you?" He goes, "Frag from an RPG." He's like, "All right, I'll have to put another bandage on it." He goes, "Please don't, please don't put another bandage on it." No, he put a bandage on it. So he couldn't put a knee tight if he tried. So fucking off we went round Bastion, got to roll 3, and when you arrive in theatre as a commander, you always go round the major players. So we had the roll 3 tour, and I thought to myself, never going to come through this place.
Yeah.
Never going to see this again. But it's nice to see. And here I am now in a cubicle with 11 people around me, with tough cut sitters cutting everything off me apart from the fucking shreddies. And I've got IV getting put into one arm. I've got another line going in the other arm. They're like, have you had morphine? I went, no. In went 25 milligrams of morphine. I have to say, it's fucking wonderful stuff.
I was going to say, did you feel good or?
I did. I did feel pretty good. And then I went for ultrasound and an X-ray to make sure there's nothing left in my knee. And to be fair, most of it is just excessive swelling. You know,
Yeah.
I had a little cut and a penetrating bleed, but there's nothing left inside it. So they kind of just patched me up and they put me into a holding ward. So I'm sat in this wheelchair with a pair of flip flops, a pair of shorts, and this t-shirt on, and this casually little injury bag that they give you. I'm still covered in cordite. I've got a fucking drip hanging up on this like thing, and I'm just sitting there, and Sky News is on, and I'm watching Bastion Complex ground attack on Sky News. So I'm thinking, wow, this is really weird. And I'm in an Aeromed ward because every other ward in Bastion is now full. So I've got people like going back with broken fingers, and I'm in this wheelchair. Like, I must have looked the right state, and I was really agitated. I didn't really want to be in there.
Yeah.
And then it occurred to me I'd not had a piss since 8:30 the night before, and I really needed to go to the loo. So I got attention on the nurses, and God, yeah, sorry, we didn't even think of asking that. So they ruled me out to the toilets, out of this ward, and I thought, I need a hand here. I could barely stand. So they didn't come in with me, but they helped me inside, and so I had a piss. Then I looked in the mirror and I thought, holy fuck, what's the state of you?
Yeah.
I tried to wash my face and I just gave up. I was like, I was so exhausted. And I opened the door and I come back out. The word must have got round that I'd been involved in what was going on, because there was like 20 people asking questions. I was like, I didn't know where to look. I just looked at his nurse and could you get me back in the ward, please?
Yeah. Fucking leave me alone for a minute. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
mate, it was really hard to compute, and I was in there for about an hour and a half, and then the lights went on, and people were starting to stir. Breakfast was coming in, and I thought this is really bizarre. And then it was like, oh, so what happened to you? I've got a broken toe. I'm getting medivac. I'm going back home. He's like, yeah. I thought
Really
guys that
happy
are going
with
back home might be in body bags, really.
Yeah.
So I didn't really want to engage them. And then one of them bumped in my leg, so I couldn't bend my leg, and he walked straight into my leg, and I was like, and this fucking nurse come running in. She's like, oh my god, I've got to get him somewhere else. So as they turned and started wheeling me out, so I was gonna break this guy's neck. Squadron officer walked in, the squadron client, and goes, do you want to go up to your casualties? He goes, I was like, yeah, please get me out of here.
Yeah.
So off he goes. So this nurse starts pushing, goes, I can't go all the way up to the ward. Will you be able to? Oh, yeah, I'll wheel myself. I'll be all right. And the fucking warrant officer just fucking walked off. And I was like, I didn't know. I turned around, I was like, I didn't know where the wards were. So I thought, fuck this. I'm not going into the ward in a wheelchair, because this lot was just going to rip the piss out of me if they see me in a wheelchair. So I starts walking down this corridor in flip flops. I've still got this drip thing. And this nurse son comes to me, son, you need to get back into bed. I goes, well, I would if I knew where it was. Apparently it's in a ward down here. She went, oh, yeah, it's just down there. She says, oh, it's full. I goes, yeah, I know it's full. So I went in there, and the first person I saw was Lance Corporal Gilligan. He was in really deep shock after seeing the stars get hit. So I had a quick chat with him. He was just curled up in the ball. Didn't really register what was going on. He didn't even know he was in a war with everybody else. He was just so withdrawn. And I thought, okay, right, I'll come back to you later. I'll speak to you later, mate. And then I spoke to Cities. He was the one with the RPG, the open door, the driver.
Yeah.
So, his face was just carved open. His arm is all shredded. And of course, when you get injured like that in theatre, they don't sew you up. What they do is they clean the wound. They put a cling film type dressing around it to keep bacteria and germs out. The reason they do that is when you go back to the UK, you go through reconstructive surgery. So to save opening it up again.
Yeah, I got you.
The wound's already open, because you get ready back really quick. But it wasn't until he got back to the UK when they started treating his face, they realised he took a round from an AK into his head, into his face.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, fucking hell. This is nuts. And then next to him was Sid, who got shot in the head from the helmet. So he's got like a couple of stitches in his head. Then next to him was Ollie. He took a lot of frag as his man in the 50 when the RPG hit. He was really agitated. because next to him was this cubicle that has been screened off, and that was the only insurgent that survived.
And he was in there with you girls?
He was in the same ward as my troops. He got moved about 20 minutes later after I complained.
Yeah, I was going to say, fucking hell.
Mad, isn't it?
And whose idea was that?
I don't know. Then across from Ollie was another guy. I can't remember who it was now. And next to him was Big Stoz, and I saw Big Stoz's leg, and I was like, I wanted to be sick.
Yeah.
But I couldn't show that to Stoz because Stoz is quite chirper. He was out his face on drugs. They all were. They were all on really high pain relief. As well, I was. And Stoz was like, he goes, "What do you think?" I goes, "No, you'll be alright. It's just a scratch."
He's got a scratch.
It's just a scratch. He goes, "Oh," he goes, "It looks a bit messy." He goes, "Yeah, it'll be right. The body repairs itself." And then I went back and spoke to Gilly again, and then Charlie goes, "Right, I'm gonna have to get you out of the hospital. Otherwise, they're gonna want to keep you in." He goes, "What do you mean? They let me out?" He goes, "Yeah, I've wangled it." He goes, "Because there's other casualties coming in." I was like, "Who's that then?" And he started reeling off the names. I was like, "Fucking hell, they're my lads." So Berkey was coming in because his hearing was fucked. Timmy was coming in because he's fractured his ankle and he took frag to his bollocks from an hand grenade. Ugg was coming in, he took some frag, and the list was just growing and growing. I was like, okay, right, get me out of here. So I got back to the squadron compound, and I was like, fucking hell, what am I going to do? So I cleaned my weapon. I phoned home. I got told, because even though we had to casualties, we took American casualties. Op minimizers in place.
I was going to say op minimize, yeah.
But you can go through Whitehall and get a direct dial number. So the warrant officer's like, right, phone your missus because they've already been around, phone and tell her you're all right. I was like, okay. So I had a quick phone call with her. She was, I've been seeing it on the news. What's going on?
Fucking hell. Yeah.
I couldn't deal with that at the time. I was like, I was still pretty smacked out made morphine. I was like, yeah, no, I'm all right. The troops are all right. No one's really badly hurt. All fatalities are American. And she went, oh, okay. Okay, so don't believe everything you hear in the news. She's like, I've got to go because op minimizers on. She's like, okay, I'll speak to you whenever. Okay, cool. Put the phone down. And then the clerk, Kerry, come in. She goes, I've made you a cup of coffee. I was like, lifesaver. I'd rather have a cup of tea. I never drunk tea at that point, but still suddenly I wanted a cup of tea.
All of a sudden, you went full British and was like, I need a cup of tea.
She made me a cup of sweet tea, and I was like, oh, that's heavenly. I've drunk tea ever since. And the rest of that day was just the usual, trying to have a bit of normality, trying to eat because all the messes were shut, because everything was shut for about 24 hours. It was a really weird day, and then obviously that night we got IDF'd again, and the whole world just erupted again. And I remember some little scrope bag coming in because that was about 6:30, 7:30 at night, and I'd only just managed to fall asleep. Bear in mind, I hadn't slept for about almost 24 hours, and I was physically exhausted. I couldn't sleep. I just couldn't switch off. It's too much going around my head. Should I have done this? What if I'd done this? Yeah, hindsight's a great thing, but I've learned.
What if I'd done this? What if I'd been there at a different time?
So I'm not long falling asleep when this little scrope bag's going, we're getting IDF, we're on another ground attack. I was like, oh, fucking hell, not again. So, and I was still dressed. I got back in his uniform. So I hobbled across to the compound and I met up with JR. And Gilly had been released from hospital in the afternoon. And some bright fucking spark had made him the on-base QRF commander because we're that depleted of manpower.
Yeah.
And he'd gone straight back into shock again. So John had grabbed him. I went, look, I'll take the QRF. He goes, sure. He goes, no, I'll take the QRF. So off we went. There 2 vehicles. And we went down to the Sea-Jock. And I took one of the juniors in with me. So I got through the outer door of the Sea-Jock, then got into the Sea-Jock itself. They were all around the big bird table at the back.
Yeah.
The OC, the wing commander, the DSC, and the squadron warrant officer, and one of the United States Marine Corps commanders. And they all just looked at me as if I was mad. I was like, fucking what? You've all seen me before. They're like, no. Why are you here? He's one of the QRF commander. And the OC's like, no, get him back to the compound. He's done his bit. No, get him. So I got taken back by the warrant officer, and the junior took over the QF. I was like, for the second time in 2 days, I felt like I was a naughty schoolboy again.
Yeah.
In the same day, I was like a naughty schoolboy. And I got put in the compound, and I had someone watching over me. Like, he's not to leave the compound. He's not to go anywhere. I was like, and John coming goes, "You're right." He goes, "I'm probably just, I've got nothing left."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Right, okay." So we chatted for a bit, and then he goes, "You're gonna have to stay there all night." I was like, "For fuck's sake!" So I didn't sleep that night either. And then clearly, the following day, Bastion had returned back to normality. You know, air ops were running again. The United States Marine Corps decided to fly in another nine Harriers.
As you
4
do.
days later, because as they did, they got that. They did a massive show of force to say that, yeah, you may have destroyed our ground attack fleet. Here's another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Flight line took a bit of clearing up, but life on Bastion kind of reverted back to normality. So we took 11 UK casualties, and the Americans took 7 casualties and 2 KIA. The other one was a Sergeant Bradley Atwell, who was probably one of the only US Marines to lead some form of counterattack and got shot down, cut up, and died, sustained his injuries on the battlefield. That was the 2 American casualties. But, infrastructure-wise, they lost all the Harriers, they lost the C-130, they lost another plane that was on the PAM, fuel bladders. There was about £250 million worth of damage. Probably more than that. You think what the planes actually cost.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the short story of Bastion. Mate, there's loads of other bits to it. It's
but even that short story, it's like what it annoys me now knowing the full ins and outs. Well, not the full ins and outs, but the version that you've just said there of the ins and outs. That people have the audacity to then say that they took their body armor off and shot it to say that they were involved in the battle.
Who would do that?
Exactly. Who would even think to do that? And these people clearly didn't know or understand.
I wouldn't let anybody have put that notion to it. Well, if you think back, to on Herrick 19 where we had 58 with us, and we had the Gatsby incident with the pistol. That's stupidity level. I would never tolerate anything like that on my flight, and shit like that is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't have to go out and big up what we do. We're very good at what we do. I've proved that. We can retake an airfield.
Yeah.
I can deal with multiple casualties that are on the verge of. If you think back to it, I had 16 people in QRF. I took a 75% casualty rate.
Mental.
That's the same attrition as unit on D-Day.
Yeah.
But that's really high. Yeah. And the guys that got CASEVAC to UK was 3 corporals, a lance corporal, and SAC. So I've lost 30% of my command element.
Yeah.
Way more than that, because 2 of my most experienced junior NCOs got CASEVAC back to UK. Hence why Robbo come out as a BCR to my flight.
Yeah.
What I think what frustrated the other call signs was because we were so depleted in manpower on my flight, and we had to wait for BCRs. They decided, okay, we're just going to fix everyone in place. So we had to stay on camp for another 2 weeks. So my lads that were on MERT, who were stuck in a MERT compound, just watching all this go on, they were like that. They felt really bad.
Yeah, I bet they did.
So we did a bit of rotating, and I got to catch up with some of the others and what MERT experienced, because they got a lot of stuff overflying their way.
It must have been it's obviously the lads with an incident, any sort of incident, they go through some sort of trim sort of training.
Yeah.
To talk about that, that must have been really difficult considering the vast amount of casualties and people involved.
Yeah, so none of my guys actually went through trim because none of them wanted it.
Yeah.
The casualties in the hospital, that's totally different. They go for a different form of treatment.
course, yeah.
Going through Headley Court and stuff like that. I had actually trimmed a lot of guys on that tour off Mert because they were seen
Yeah, you see it, yeah.
triple amputees. You've got your hand up inside someone holding a main vein, stopping bleeding out. We trimmed a lot of people on that. None of our guys got trimmed from that night because none of them wanted it. What we did do is we sat down as a team, we talked about it, we shared our experiences with the others who were really unlucky enough to watch from Mert and felt really uncomfortable about that because they couldn't do anything. So we all shared that as a group, and we got through it as a group.
Yeah, that's good to know.
And that's how we dealt with it. Because you know, those of us who are there were in that thick end of it all know exactly what happens.
Yeah.
We don't go out of our way to advertise that fact. You know, when someone's saying to me, "Oh, yeah, but you're a military cross recipient," he goes, "Yeah, well, it's not for me. It's a team award. You know, it's not just me. There's a whole team behind me. It's just someone gets recognised because someone thinks I did a really gallantry act. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But in my eyes, you know, that's a team award, and everything that's comes out of that, from the millies to other stuff that I've been given, you know, in my eyes, all that, mate, that's all a team award. You know, because it's not just me.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
And I would never shy away from that fact because I'll always stand up for the troops that put their lives on the line. Because to me, that's really important. You know, it's not about me. I was just in that fortunate position where I got a military cross. I got a mention in dispatches. Smudge got a CNC commendation. I've recommended other people, like Big Luke Firth. I recommended him for a gallantry award. Didn't get it. Wasn't even looked at, which is a shame. But he knows what he did, and he's gone on to bigger, better things. And you know, we still share those experiences. We still catch up now and again, whether that's on Facebook or in a pub somewhere randomly where you meet people in the UK.
Yeah.
What are you doing now? Let's have a beer. That sort of thing. Yeah. So yeah, it's is what it is. In my eyes, it's a team award. It's not an individual award.
Well, that's good. I like that. And you know, you get some that it is everything about them. That's what they want to talk about, and then you get others that are very humble. And you tend to find that most people, when it comes down to any sort of gallantry effort, are very humble.
Yeah. Some use it to the advantage, some don't. I found it a hindrance because everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, you need to take this post in. You need to go. You need to go to J's and teach J Rocks." No, I don't. No, I don't. I just want to do my core job. You know, just because I've got a gallantry award doesn't make you different. You know, doesn't change who I am.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. There's a sense of pride that goes with that. Don't get me wrong. It's a sense of pride for my troops, my unit. You know, my cat badge that I wear, but doesn't mean I want to do certain jobs just because I've got it.
Yeah.
Because that's not me. That's one of the reasons why I got out, because they kept trying to give me, you got that, you go this route. That's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I left.
No, that's fair enough.
And age is creeping up on me.
Well,
it's hard when you're 52 trying to keep up with an 18-year-old.
You're doing your best, I'm sure.
I've always managed to get in a position where I'll put on the high vis as a flight, so I'll be the rear marker, make sure all the troops and anyone in front of me is in the shit, anyone behind me is in the shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't. As you get older, you have to work 4 times as hard to keep up with a 20-year-old because they're naturally fit. Our bodies, you get to that age, and you know, I've been through some traumatic stuff, picked up a few injuries, and I'm thinking, I can't sustain that. Because you're working twice as hard.
Yeah.
And your body can't take that because as you naturally get older, your body starts to change.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah,
and mentally, it's was a challenge because you're thinking, I can't do what I want to do because they won't put you in that role, and I found that really frustrating. Oh, you've got to stay in a training post. Why? Well, because you've got the experience.
Surely my experience is needed elsewhere as well. Yeah.
But on the flip side of that is, I know how well our command structure is trained, and I would expect anyone else or the others that are in that position that I held would have done exactly the same as what I did.
Yeah.
On the night, none of us would have shied away from anything. We're there to do a job.
Of course
That's
not.
what we're trained to do. And I said it multiple times to people, because when it's shit in the fan, you go into autopilot mode. You just go with the flow, because that's what you're trained to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you resort to default, don't you? You go
we're
back to the
trained
training.
to react that way. We're trained to deal with complex situations. Granted, not on that scale.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting multiple casualties and having to deal with attack helicopters and frag vehicles and frag troops left, right, and centre. But, that's on the verge of being overwhelmed, which it was almost overwhelming. But I had to keep my cool, because the troops look up to you. They expect you to get you through that. Because I remember at the start of the tour, the boss gave the speech. Yeah, everyone's going to be alright. I was like, right, don't listen to the boss. I can't guarantee you're all going to go home.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee you're all going to be in one piece. But whatever happens, I will do my best for all of you. And that's how you get the respect. Because you can't make guarantees. Because life doesn't work like that.
No, you can't. No, definitely not. Definitely.
And you've only got to look at the serious casualties we took and some of the losses we took over the years on ops. That you can't make those statements like that.
No,
no,
exactly. Exactly.
It's a full statement. But there you go, mate. Yeah. So yeah, that's the. I don't call it the Battle of Bastion. I call it the complex attack.
The complex attack.
I don't like the term.
Who gave it the title of Battle of Bastion?
No, someone on the wing headquarters, probably.
Yeah, someone did, and they thought that sounds really cool, and then it's like.
Because I remember a couple of days after that, I had to do a press interview for BFBS because it was such a big thing.
Yeah.
In fact, I did one for Sky News. I did one for BBC. I was like, why am I getting involved out? And
you must have got a lot of crates. It must have been a fair few crates you had to get in for that.
Mate, I'm still getting crated. I was at I got an invite to Kaz's Gallantry dinner last year.
Yeah.
The second year in a row, and I got crated for that just for getting an invite.
Well, it's fine.
So yeah, I still get crated. But I remember the girl from BFBS. This is like only a few days after it, and she's like, "So, how do you feel about being the hero of the Battle of Bastion?" I was like, "What?"
Oh God!
I'm just doing my job. I don't see myself as a hero. I'm doing what I'm trained to do. And she's like, "Oh no, I'm not." Is that right? We'll have to pause it there. But you're gonna have to word that better. And I was like,
it's like fuck off. No.
Where did you, and afterwards, I was like, where did you get the Battle of Bastion from? She was, oh, we heard it in the mess from someone. So the Battle of Bastion. And it's always been referred to that. So that's why I never referred to the book. Will never be referred to as the Battle of Bastion. That's why it's going to get called Into the Darkness. For me, I was going into the darkness. I was going into the unknown.
That's better. That's better.
The Battle of Bastion. It always makes me chuckle. That, mate. It always makes me chuckle.
Yeah.
And I do make reference to that in someone made a comment about it. It's in the book about where the Battle of Bastion came from.
But there we go. We did officially have the Battle of Bastion in his words from Doc. That was, and
mate, it's been a pleasure.
Definitely, and I won't take up any more of your time. I know you got to go. But yeah, for those that are listening, that is what took place with the Battle of Bastion, and it was.
Anybody wants to come back in that? Just point my way.
Yeah, exactly. I will do. And yeah, mate, what a story. And well, thank you for your service on those days, because it could have been a lot worse.
Likewise, mate. There's probably a lot of people would probably say the same for you. I know what it's like. We're the position that you're in the CJOC, so I've relied heavily on the signalers. So yeah, mate, respect goes to you as well. You've been there.
I appreciate it, and yeah, genuinely, thanks for your time. And I'll let you know when this comes out, and I can pass you the link and do what you want to do with it. And I'm looking forward to
anyway.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading your book when it's finally out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what comments get put against it.
Well, let me know when it's out, and I'll plaster it all over Granite Zero's
Yeah, I'll
socials.
stick a mention about the podcast in it, mate.
Oh,
In the
appreciate it.
epilogue.
Thank you very much. You have a good
Take it easy,
evening.
bro.
Enjoy the rest
Speak
of
to
your
you
time.
soon.
Catch you in a bit. Cheers. Hello. You're at the adverts, so don't turn off. Don't turn off, because I've got some good stuff for you. First up, I'm going to talk about our sponsors. Kent CBD is our first sponsor. Now, CBD oil, as you know, has tremendous benefits, especially within mental health and physical health. Personally, I use it to help with my anxiety and my depression, but not only that, I also use it to help with the aches and pains of life in my joints, especially my ankles and my knees. But yeah, without CBD oil, I would have still been on my antidepressant tablets, which I'm no longer on. So, every cloud. And what we're going to do here at Granite Zero is we're going to give you 10% off everything from oil, muscle rub, jellies, bath salts, the lot. Yeah? Make sure you get in there. www.kentcbd.org. Put in the promo code GRANITE0 and get yourself 10% off. You are welcome. But also, if you're like me and you love a nice cup of coffee. Now, for me, I only drink one coffee, and that's Green Beret coffee. Now, I don't only drink it because it's out of this world fucking coffee, roast to order, grinded to whatever specific grind you want. But not only that, it's veteran owned and veteran run, which, hits me right in the feels. So make sure you check it out, Green Beret coffee. Get yourself a nice cup of coffee. I drink it dark, just like my soul. Incredible stuff, incredible stuff. And what I'm going to give for you, I'm going to give you 10% off. So once you get to the checkout, once you've got all your coffee, your products, your apparel, whatever you need, get to the checkout and put in the promo code GZPodcast10 and get yourself 10% off. Courtesy of the Granite Zero podcast. You are welcome. Now, that's enough of me talking about this stuff. Back to the regular scheduled show. Check it out!